Am I the asshole for telling my daughter that her grades are more important than her pain right now? Preface. If I come off as callous, it's because I'm trying to be succinct. I, 46 female, have a 16-year-old daughter. In July, she was in a car accident. Most of her injuries were mild. She went to the hospital but they let her go home after a few days of observation. But even after we got home, she still complained a lot about pain. I was concerned and took her to our GP, but they couldn't find anything wrong. I told her it was probably in her head and in response to the traumatic event and that she'd be fine in a few days. She stopped complaining about it after that and everything seemed good. Fast forward to yesterday and I got an email from her teacher that she's constantly despondent in class and laying her head down and not participating. I was already seeing red from that and I decided to check on her grades. She turned in multiple assignments late and lost points on them, which is not at all on par with her typical performance. I confronted her about it and she was really quiet at first, like she didn't know what to say. I pushed her on it and she started talking about pain again, which I frankly think is bullshit. She hasn't said a peep about it for 2 months, only when her grades are slipping. We started arguing about it and I said that her grades matter more than her pain. She's a junior this year, it is not the time to be slacking. She's been in her room since, refusing to talk to anyone. She wouldn't even go to school today. I'm at a loss, she's never been so difficult. And I'm questioning whether or not I'm in the right here. Am I the asshole? Edit. I get it, I'm an awful person. I wasn't seeing past the grades and I treated my daughter horribly. Thank you especially to the medical professionals who replied. I had no idea this could be so serious. I've already booked a specialist for 2 weeks from now, earliest appointment, and apologized to my daughter. I know I still have a lot of making up to do. We're going out for ice cream. You are the asshole. Your daughter could easily have post-concussion symptoms or other issues. Or PTSD. In any case, the world already has a full complement of people who minimize medical issues for women. You're not needed for that. Support your child. You are the asshole. She's constantly despondent in class and laying her head down and not participating. #GET your daughter to a therapist. She's a junior this year, it is not the time to be slacking. FFS, it's high school. Grades don't matter. If I come off as callous, it's because I'm trying to be succinct. You're under the character count by 50%. If expressing yourself accurately were important to you, you had the opportunity. If you wanted to be callous, that was a choice. Am I the asshole for serving my boyfriend's parents pizza for dinner? Hi. So this happened last night. I'm still hella confused by this whole thing. So, IF28 have been dating my boyfriend M31 for 7 months. His family are of Italian origins and they take a lot of pride in it. They invited me over to their house several times. Last night, his parents came over to the apt for the first time. They said they were visiting a friend and decided to stop by for dinner. I freaked out when they said dinner because it was late, and I was working and had no time to cook. So I ordered pizza for all of us. The second his parents saw the pizza they got pissed. His dad gave me a nasty stare, then said that I intentionally served them pizza just because they were Italians. In other words, he claimed I was mocking them and their food and assuming that just cause they're Italian then they'd only eat Italian food, which he called racist. I was confused. I said I didn't think it was interpreted that way, but he said, if you have Asian guests over, do you serve them sushi? How would you like if we only serve you McDonald's and fries every time you visit, since that's what Americans eat? I was stunned by his words. Basically, he was saying that just because they're Italian then I shouldn't assume they'd like to have pizza, but who doesn't like pizza? He and my boyfriend's mom got up and said they wanted to leave. My boyfriend tried to get them to stay and take it easy, but they left eventually. He blew up saying I messed by serving them pizza and insulting them indirectly. He told me to call and apologize, but I said no and that I didn't have time to cook anything after they showed up unexpectedly. He got more upset and asked if his parents needed permission to visit him. I backed off thinking he'd call down. Nut, he kept saying I insulted his parents and I need to apologize. I'm utterly and genuinely confused. The asshole. Not the asshole. I mean, if your boyfriend was so upset that his parents got pizza, why didn't he cook for them? Not the asshole. It sounds like they were looking for a reason to be upset. When people don't have time to cook, they order pizza. Your guests being of Italian origin makes no difference, and they are just being assholes. Pro tip. My parents, friends, colleagues have just dropped by for dinner. You. Cool, what are you cooking? Beginning and end of it. Not the asshole. Ordering out for pizza is as American as it gets. They were just looking for an excuse to be insulted. Anyway, why was it your responsibility to order dinner? Your boyfriend was there, and they're his parents. He should have been responsible for providing dinner. Am I the asshole for being upset my wife didn't stay in the hospital with me? So I, 35M, was in a motorcycle accident earlier this week. My wife, 35F, has 3 kids from a previous marriage, 17F, 10M, 5M, and we have a 1-year-old together. I had a collapsed lung and had a chest tube put in, a broken leg and arm and torn ligaments in my knee. I've been in the hospital since Monday. She came out the day of my accident and stayed until about 4 a.m. Was back that same morning but has gone home each night. Yesterday she only stayed until about 1 p.m. to prepare the house for the hurricane and didn't come at all today because the weather wasn't great and she said she didn't want to leave the kids. I told her I was upset that I basically went through everything alone. That I would have done anything to be with her. She told me she's been there as much as possible and it's not fair to dump all the kids on her daughter, especially since I'll need a lot of help when I get home and her daughter will need to help with the kids when she works. I told her marriage means through thick and thin and I feel abandoned. Now I'm getting one-word answers from her. Am I the asshole for feeling like an afterthought? Maybe you're still on drugs and aren't aware of how much of an asshole you sound. It's not as though she's leaving you to go party, she has kids, including one of yours. You are the asshole for not understanding that a 17-year-old shouldn't be responsible for 3 kids age 10 and under during a hurricane. The situation isn't ideal, but it's obvious to me she's there as much as she can. Marriage means through thick and thin, but significant other does parenthood. The fact that you're not more understanding of her trying to balance all her responsibilities during a hurricane is bizarre. Bro, she has to take care of 4 kids by herself, and is trying to visit you. Clearly she's trying her best and she's got a lot on her plate. YTA. Update. Am I the asshole for telling people that I wasn't invited to a wedding? I want to thank you all for the responses, especially for the wedding invites. Well, I have an update to this story and it took an interesting turn. Bob and I were in the office today. He came to me and asked if we could talk. He asked if we could clear the air over some beers with his wife after work. I said okay. After work I meet Bob and his wife, Pam, in a bar. They both apologized for not inviting me, and making me feel excluded. Bob apologized for lying and getting mad about it. The reason they didn't invite me is because they didn't want single guys at the wedding. They went to a big wedding back in 2019 that was ruined when a bunch of drunk, single guys started hitting on the women there. A few of the boyfriends and husbands got pissed and it turned into a big fight. People were arrested and it completely ruined the wedding. I found it hard to believe, but they showed me a couple of Facebook videos of them at a wedding, and it looked the damn Royal Rumble going on. I was even shown a few Facebook statuses confirming their story. Pam said she was sort of traumatized by this and swore they'd have no single guys at their wedding. Well, the wedding came and Pam stuck to her guns. Only family, couples, single women or trusted single men were to be invited. Pam said that there were only about 10 single guys there, and they were all family members or groomsmen. She said the party turned out amazing this way since women didn't have to worry about being hit on. Pam said it truly wasn't personal, and that she's so sorry for not inviting me, but would do it again. I asked if she and Bob didn't trust me enough to control myself. She said that Bob vouched hard for me, but she was sticking to her guns. The compromise was that she'd have to explain it if anyone asked, and that Bob got to choose the honeymoon destination. Curiously, she said that she had a sister around my age and I was just her type, and she wanted to keep her away from me. I was a little offended at that, but she says that it's for my own good. Her sister is a little bit of SLT, her words not mine. And she didn't want her to get her hooks in me, again her words. Bob said he should have handled it better, and he wanted to be honest but it wouldn't have made much of a difference, so he hoped I wouldn't mind as much. Plus he figured I wouldn't want to go to a wedding as a single guy anyway. I told them I was kinda hurt. They thought I would act like a creeper at their wedding. Pam assured me that she thought I was a nice, smart, funny guy, but she just wanted to make sure their wedding went off without a hitch. They promised to make it up to me, but I told them it wasn't necessary. Pam insisted on it, and said I had to know how sorry she was. So we made plans to have dinner at their expense at a very nice restaurant in the city this weekend. So in the end I guess it wasn't anything I did, but I still feel kind of insulted. But I guess I get a free dinner out of it. Person shrugging, light skin tone. Edit. There are a lot of comments here suggesting that I'm being naive, a doormat, and letting them off easy for basically calling me a creep. I won't lie, I think you all might be right. I do believe in taking the high road on most occasions, but I don't think this should be one of those times. As a side note, I don't believe that wanting to see the best in people or taking them at their word makes you naive. I had a call an hour ago with my project manager and explained the entire situation. She advised me to go to HR and make a complaint since it could lead to a hostile work environment. I have a meeting with them Monday. I don't really want to make a formal complaint, just have it on file in case anything happens. TBH, I don't think it will. Bob doesn't seem like that kind of person, but I've been wrong plenty of times before. So as per the advice here, I won't be going to dinner with Bob and Pam. I will however insist on a public apology that doesn't imply that I'm a creep. And I'm insisting on some fresh apple cider donuts, not store-bought, but fresh. Thank you for making me see the truth. Reddit. Although I'm disappointed I'm turning down some Wagyu steak, so you all owe me one. Haha. What a pair of assholes. The compromise was that she'd have to explain it if anyone asked, so why did Bob lie to everyone and have a massive go at you, instead of getting her to explain it as they supposedly agreed? This is not about the yogurt. They did insult you. I'd honestly just move on from this relationship. They don't seem like the type of people worth putting the effort to stay friends with. Damn. You are significant other, not the asshole. Bob should have to explain this to the team at work, since that is where he was telling his lies. A public apology of sorts. His team deserves to know what kind of guy they work with. A personal apology is nice, but the offense was committed in public and deserves to be addressed in public. I'd take them up on the fancy dinner, then never be any more than professional with Bob. I'm glad they were at least willing to address it, but they are still a couple of awes.